Follow and read with Miss Jam. This is the story about the Easter story. Once upon a time, long time ago, there is one person who are living with many people, and we call him Jesus. Jesus lived 2,000 years ago. He went from place to place with his friends, teaching people about God's kingdom and how to be good to everyone. Once, they were on their way to Jerusalem for a festival called Passover. They stopped at a village like a small town, smaller than town. Jesus asked his friends to find him a donkey so he could ride through the city. May we borrow him? And someone let him borrow a donkey. Yes, look at this one. This is a donkey. It looks like a horse, but it has bigger teeth and a bit smaller. Jesus rode into Jerusalem with the donkey, followed by his friends. Cheering crowds lined the streets. Everyone was excited to see Jesus. It was dusty, rough road. People put down their cloaks like their coat, for the donkey to walk on because the road is really dusty. Others cut leaves from palm trees, and laid them down too so they could walk. Jesus and his friends visited the temple to pray. When they returned the next morning, Jesus was angry. Traders were selling cows and other animals outside the temple. And Jesus says, "This is a place for praying. It's not for making money." He knocked over the traders and stalls and drove them away. "Go away and don't come back," he says. A crowd gathered. Jesus taught them about how to be good and about God's kingdom. Sick people came to hear him, and he made them well. However, there is one bad man, and he says, I have to get rid of him, because no people are going to the church anymore or to the temple. "People should not listen to him," said the chief priest angrily. "We will arrest him," said another one, when there's no crowd around to protect him. Judas, Judas, one of Jesus' friends, heard about the priest's plan. I'll tell you, when Jesus is alone, he told them, "What will you give me in return?" And the chief priest says, 30 silver coins. Wow, Judas can get a lot of silver coins if he will return Jesus to the chief priest. That evening, Jesus and his friends were eating supper. Supper like dinner. Yes, they are eating dinner together. And then Jesus suddenly talks and says, "One of you is going to betray me." Ah, that means one friend is lying to Jesus. And his friends were shocked. "No, we will not do that," they said. But Jesus says, "It will be the man I give this bread to." And Jesus gave the bread to Judas. And because Judas was so ashamed, he ran off into the night. But Judas felt really ashamed. Jesus shared the rest of the food with his friends. "When you eat bread and drink wine, remember me," he said. Then Jesus went to visit a garden of olive trees nearby. And then Jesus once again says, "Soon you'll run away and leave me," Jesus told his friends. They were surprised. How could he know that? How could he know those things? "We'd never do that," said his friend. Jesus entered the garden with Peter, James, and John. Jesus turned to Peter and he said, "Before the cock crows at dawn, you'll pretend you don't know me," he said. "And you have to say it 3 times. You will say lie. You will lie and say you don't know me 3 times." Peter was puzzled. "I'd never do that." Jesus went to a quiet spot to pray alone. When he returned to his friends, they were asleep. And Jesus once again says, "Couldn't you stay awake?" They are really asleep. At that moment, Judas came back and he appeared, but now with a group of temple guards. Judas kissed Jesus on cheek. Yeah. And he says, "This is the man you want," he told the guards. "Come with us," said the guards. Peter sprang to defend Jesus with his swords. But the guards are too many. "Put your sword down," said Jesus, healing the guard. The guards grabbed Jesus. However, his friends ran off because they were so scared. And then Jesus was marched to the high priest's palace. And now, that is because of Judas. Peter joined the crowd outside, and the people asked, "Weren't you Jesus' friend?" And Peter said, "No," he said, because Peter, they don't want to be arrested. Two more people asked the same question. But then Peter lied again and said, "Oh, I don't know Jesus. I don't know him," because he is scared that the guards will arrest him too. The cock crowed. Peter, remember what Jesus has said. You will lie 3 times, he says. Inside the palace, Jesus stood before the high priest. And the high priest says, "Are you the Son of God?" "I am," said Jesus. "No one is allowed to say that," said the priest. "The law says you must die." Only the Roman governor could order Jesus' death. Yes. The next morning, Jesus was taken to the governor. The name of the governor is Pontius Pilate. There was a crowd outside the governor's home. The priest had lots of friends in the crowd, and they are shouting, "Kill Jesus! Kill Jesus!" Pilate looked down at the crowd. And what did he do? He knew Jesus had done nothing wrong, but he didn't want to upset the chief priest. They are friends. And Pilate says, "Very well," Pilate told the crowd, "but you must take the blame for Jesus' death. If Jesus will die, it's not my fault. It should be the crowd, because the crowd shouted, 'Kill Jesus,'" said. So the soldiers took Jesus and made fun of him. They dressed him in a purple robe and put a crown. But it's not a gold crown. It's crown of thorns on his head. And they said, "Now you look like a king." They said. Dressed in his old clothes again, Jesus was led to a wooden cross. "You'll be put on this cross to die," said the soldier. "Carry it outside the city first." Oh no! So Jesus carried the cross, and it's really, really heavy. After a while, Jesus fell down. He's exhausted. A man named Simon saw what happened. The soldiers made Simon carry the cross for Jesus. Soon, they were beyond the city. It's a very, very long walk. The soldiers hung Jesus on the cross. A crowd watched. "Forgive them, Father," prayed Jesus. "They don't know what they're doing." That afternoon, Jesus died. At that moment, there's like an earthquake on the ground in that place. The ground shook. And some people says, he really must have been the Son of God. One of the soldiers said, "A man named Joseph took away Jesus' body, and he wrapped it in a linen cloth." Joseph and some of Jesus' friends took the body to a garden. They laid the body gently inside a tomb. Then they rolled a huge stone in front of the tomb like a gate, so no one can get inside. By this time, It was late on Friday evening. 3 of Jesus' friends returned on Sunday, and they were astonished. The stone had been moved. It's a large stone. How this happen? How did this happen? Oh no! And where is Jesus' body? It's gone! A man appeared dressed in white, and he says, "Do not be afraid. Jesus is alive." The woman ran to tell Jesus' other friends what had happened. Later, one woman, Mary, came back by herself. Suddenly, Jesus appeared. "Tell my friends you've seen me, Mary," he said. And after that, Jesus' friends saw him several times, many times before he went to heaven. And they told everyone about Jesus. Now they know that Jesus is in heaven and he would live forever. Yes, and that is the end of our story. It's about the story of Easter Sunday. So that's why some people celebrate Easter during the Sunday of March and Friday of March. And I hope you like our story for tonight. And